Hi everyone, welcome to the walkthrough of paper 3F from November 2019 series. Okay, so going straight to question number 1, it says write down two factors of 12. So any numbers that divide into 12, for example, 1 times 12 is 12, 2 times by 6 or 3 times by 4. So any of these two factors, I'm just going to choose 3 and 4. Okay, question 2, find 1/3 of 30. So 30 divided by 3, which is 10. So that is 1/3 of 30. And question number 3, write 0.7 as a fraction. So 0.7, if you have a look here, in terms of the fraction is 7 over 10, which would be 70%, but they're looking for a fraction here, which is 7 over 10. And question number 4 says, here's a list of numbers, write down the numbers from list that is a multiple of 6, okay? Now, we can find one here, which is 18, that because 6 times by 3, that makes 18. So 18 is a multiple of 6, okay? Question number 5, change 4 kilometers into meters. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So 4 times by 1,000, that is 4,000 meters. Okay, question number 6, it says, here's a grid of squares. Write down the ratio of number of shaded squares to the number of unshaded squares. Okay, so the ratio, so 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3 shaded, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are unshaded. So 3 to 5. Okay, question number 7, it says, find the value of W when U is 8. Okay, so if you look at the formula, so that means 4 times by U, because there's invisible time sign between 4 and U, and plus 3. So we can write down 4 times by 8 plus 3. So again, BIDMAS, multiplication first. 4 times by 8 is 32 plus 3, and that equals 35. So 35. Okay, question number 8, it says here are the first 5 terms of a sequence, and it says write down the next 2 terms of this sequence. So if you look at the difference between them, that is plus 2, and that's plus 3, that's plus 4, that is plus 5. So the next one, if we add 6 to this, that will be 21. And the next one, if you add 7 to that, that will be 28. So 21 and 28. Okay, question number 9, it says Mrs. Brown asked each child in a class which pet they liked best. And here are the results. And it says complete the frequency table for this information. Okay, so dog. So let's do a tally over here. That's 1 rabbit, 1 cat, 1 dog, the second one, another dog, and hamster, dog, and dog again. So that means the next one goes across. Cat, dog, rabbit, a dog, and we left the middle row. Let's go back to the middle row. Cat, 1, another dog, rabbit, hamster, cat, and another cat. Okay, so frequencies, if we count them, there's 5 here and 3 more, that's 8. Okay, don't want to get mixed up with that. And we got 3 rabbit, cat, we got 5, and hamster we have 2. Okay, so if you count them all together, we've got 11, 11 plus 5, 16, and 18 all together, and they were 18 to start off with. So just checking your work as we go along. It's on a grid plot, draw a bar chart for this information. Okay, so a bar chart, we can have frequency on the side. And we can have the pets at the bottom here. So I'm just going to use this for a dog and use this here for a rabbit. I'm just going to put R here. And just making sure if you are going to leave a gap, make sure they are consistent gaps. Cat. I'm just going to put that rabbit in as well. And the next one is going to be hamster. Okay, so write down, so basically let's complete the bar chart first. And the frequency, we need to go up to 8. The highest number is 8. Sorry, let's go back to the screen again. Okay, and if we label this frequency side, just make sure it starts with a 0. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So dog is 8. So let's just complete our bar chart first. Go up to that line, and making sure we use a ruler and a pencil to draw this. Rabbit is 3. Cat is 5. And hamster is 2. Okay, and label your axis. We got pets on the x-axis and frequency on the y-axis. And it's right on the most popular pet. Well, the most popular pet is a dog. Okay, so that is your bar chart done and the question answered. So that was question number 9. Okay, so moving on to question number 10. It says, on the diagram above, draw a diameter of the circle. So a diameter is through the center from one edge of the circle to the other one. So if we can draw something like this using a ruler, so that will be the diameter of the circle. And it says on the diagram, draw a segment of the circle. Now, segment is you can cut the circle anywhere, okay, like this. So we got the smaller or the minor segment and the major segment, and it says draw a segment of circle and shade the segment. Okay, so I can just shade that one, or you could have shaded the bigger one as well. Okay, so that's question number 10. Moving on to question number 11, it says Dylan buys 13 bicycle lights for £7.50 each. He pays with 5 £20 notes. How much change would Dylan get? Okay, so it's a calculator paper, so you can do 13 times by £7.50. Okay, so you can just do 13 times by 7.5 on the calculator, and that will be £97.50. And then he pays with 5 £20 notes, so 5 times by 20, so he in total paid with £100. How much change would he get? So we can do 100 minus £97.50, and that will be £2.50 change, so £2.50. Okay, so the normal price of a bicycle is £120. And in a sale, there is 1/5 of the normal price of the bicycle. Work at the price of the bicycle in the sale. So 1/5 is off. Okay, so 1/5 of 120. So you can do 120 divided by 5 on the calculator. So that would be 5 times 2 is 10 and 5 times by 4, that's £24. And then 120 take away £24, that would be £96, the price of the bike in the sale. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Okay, question number 12. It says cornflakes are sold in 2 sizes of box, and we got small, which is the weight of cornflakes is 450 grams, and then the large box, the weight is 750 grams. It says Ray buys 3 small boxes of cornflakes and some large boxes of cornflakes. In total, he buys 5,850 grams of cornflakes. Work out the number of large boxes of cornflakes Ray buys. So he buys 3 small ones. So 450 times by 3. That would be 1,350 grams. And then we do 5,850 minus 1,350. You can use a calculator for this. Okay, so that would be 005. So 4,500 grams are left, and then the large box each has 750 grams of cornflakes. So we can do 4,500 divided by 750, and that equals, and that's 6 large boxes that Ray buys. Okay, next one. So that was question number 12. Question number 13. It says the stem and leaf diagram below gives information about the ages of people in a social club. Now, the stem and leaf diagram is always ordered, so starting from the lowest value to the largest, and the key says 4 and that /2, it means 42 years. For example, the first value on here is 31, and the last value represented on this is 74, and the range is the highest, take away the lowest, and that would be, so 4 take away 1 is 3, 7 take away 3 is 4. So the range is 43 years. Okay, so next question. Number 14. It says here is a rectangle, 7 centimeters by 3 centimeters, and Kobe has to find the perimeter of this rectangle. He writes the perimeter is 7 times 3. What mistake has Kobe made? Well, Kobe has found the area, not the perimeter. Okay, so Kobe has worked out the area of this rectangle. Okay, next one. Basically, he should have added the numbers together. He should be 7 there and 3 there, and it should be all together 14 plus 6. It should be 20 centimeters. Okay, so not the area. Okay, the next one, he says, here's a triangle, and we're given some expressions as the lengths of each side. And it says, Iram solves a problem about this triangle to find the value of x, and her answer is -2. And can you explain why Iram's answer must be wrong? Okay, so x is a length of this side, and it's -2. Well, the length cannot ever be a negative number because it wouldn't exist. So you can write down the length cannot be a negative number. Okay. So moving on to the next question. Number 15. It says there are 800 students at a school. each student has either a school dinner or a packed lunch. 31 of the students have a packed lunch. 55 of the students are boys, and 60% of the boys have school dinners. How many girls have packed lunches? And you must show all your working out. Okay, so we can draw a two-way table from this information. Okay, so we got boys, and we have girls, and we have students who have school dinner. Okay, I'm just going to put school dinner and people who have packed lunch. Okay, and two-way table, again, just very quickly. And then on the sides, we should really have a total. So I'm just going to have another line here. So total over here and total over here. So the total, there are 800 students. Okay, now 31% of the students have packed lunch. Okay, so 31%. So 31 out of 100 times by 800. Did this calculation, 31 divided by 100 times by 800, that gives us 248. And so the rest of the people would have school dinner. So we can do 800. So that was 248. Take away 248. Okay, so that is 552. So that's 552 people in total have school dinners. And then it says 55% of the students are boys. Okay, so we can work out 55% of 800. That is 440. So that is the total number of boys. And then we can work out the number of girls by doing 800 take away 440. That is 360. So there are 360 girls there. And he said 60% of the boys have school dinner. So this is how many boys there are. Okay, now 60% of these boys have school dinner. So 60% of 440. So again, 60 divided by 100 times by 440. Okay, so that is 264. And we can complete this table now. We can work out how many boys on this section have. So that was 264. How many boys have packed lunch? We can do 440. Take away 264. That is 176. And how many girls have packed lunch? So we can work this value out here. There are 248 people altogether who have packed lunch, but 176 boys have packed lunch. So 248 minus 176. Okay, and that is 72. So 72 girls have packed lunch. Okay, so it's always easier to draw a two-way table and work out the values from there. Okay, so 72 girls. Okay, question 16, it says in a bag there are only red counters, blue counters, green counters and yellow counters. A counter is taken at random from a bag. The table shows the probabilities of getting a red counter or a yellow counter. And the number of blue counters to the number of green counters is in the ratio of 3 to 4, and complete the table. Okay, so we know all these probabilities add up to 1. Okay, now I'm just going to work you could work in percentages, but I'm just going to use the decimals here. So we've got 0.4 plus 0.2 2, 5. So that's the probability of red and yellow. So we got 5, 6, and we got 0.65. So then 1 minus 0.65 would be 5 and 3, 0.35. Okay, so 0.35 is the probability of blue and green, but they're in the ratio of 3 to 7. Okay, so we can split this up into ratio of blue to green, which is 3 to 4. So 3 plus 4, that equals 7, and 0.35 divided by 7 is 0.05. And then you can do 0.05 times by 3 and 0.05 times by 4. That should be 0.15, and that is 0.2. And check your answer, that should make 0.35. So the blue is 0.15 and green is 0.2. So if you add them together, they should still equal a 1. Okay, so that is question number 16. Question 17, we're given a table to complete for y equals 4x minus 6, and then you need to plot the graph on the axis given. Okay, so to complete the table, they're given us two values already. So if we substitute, so y equals 4 times by x minus 6. So check your first value to start off with. So it's 4 times by 4, take away 6. 4 times by 4 is 16. 16 take away 6 is 10. So that's fine. Now you can do 4 times by 3, take away 6. That's 12, take away 6, which is 6 over here. And then you can do 4 times by 2, take away 6. That's 8, take away 6, which is a 2. Now you can spot the pattern here. It's going down by minus 4 each time. So you can even from here, minus 4 from there, that would be minus 6. Take away another 4 from here, that would be minus 10. Okay, so now you can plot this on the grid below. So I'm just going to get all this into one frame here. Okay, so start plotting your values. 4, so I'm going to start putting from here. 4 is 10, so x is 4 on the y-axis and y is 10. So your first point is going to go there, and x is 3 and the y is 6. So 3 and 6, it should be a straight line if you worked everything out right and plotting at the correct position. If you haven't got a straight line, so check your table of values and also how you're plotting them. So 1 is a minus 2, 0 is minus 6, and minus 1 is minus 10. So again, getting a ruler and joining this by a straight line, and that is your graph done. And there isn't any question with that. Okay, so that is question number 17. Okay, so moving on to question number 18, it says reflect shape P in the line y equals a 3. Okay, so where is y 3? Now, if you look at this line here, everywhere each coordinate is like y is a 3. For example, that this point here would be negative 3 and a 3, negative 2 and a 3, and then 0 and a 3, and so on. Is this line here. Okay, so draw your line of reflection, so which is y equals a 3 line, and then simply reflect the shape in that line, taking each point. So if look at this corner, it's 1 away from this line, so it will be 1 away on the other side. This corner is 1 away from that line and 1 away here. Now the top corner is 4 away from the red line or the line of reflection, y equals a 3. So it should be 4 away from this side, and then simply draw your shape out. And that is reflection in line y equals a 3. Okay, so that was number 18. And going up to question number 19, we have an equation with a bracket, and we have to solve for x. We need to find what x is. Okay, to start off with, multiply the bracket out. So we got 4 times x, which is 4x. We have 4 times by minus 6, which is minus 24, and that equals 44. Okay, so now we can add 24 to both sides. Okay, so that will cancel out. So we're left with 4x equals 44 plus 24, that's 68. And then divide both sides by 4, and x equals 68 divided by 4. So again, you can use a calculator. So that is 17. So 17 is the answer for this. Okay, question number 20. And we've been given a set of values. Now, this symbol means a universal set, and it's between 1 and 13. And it says we have to draw a Venn diagram for this information, and A should be multiples of 3, and B should be even numbers. And anything which is an even number and a multiple of 3 should go in this intersection area of A and B. So starting with 1, okay, is it a multiple of 3? Is it an even number? It's neither. So it's going to go on the outside. Okay, so 2. 2 is not a multiple of 3, and it is an even number. Okay, so it's going to go in set 2. So 3, multiple of 3, and it's not an even number. So that's going to go in set A. Okay, and just carrying on with the numbers, let's have a look at 4. 4 is an even number, but not a multiple of 3. 5 is not a multiple of 3 or an even number, so it's going to go on the outside. Now 6 is an even number, and also it is a multiple of 3, so you can have 6 inside. Now 7, not a multiple of 3, not an even number. 8 is an even number, and it will go on this side. 9 is a multiple of 3, but not an even number. 10 is an even number, but not a multiple of 3. 11 is neither. 12 is a multiple of 3 plus an even number, so that can go in the middle. And 13 is not a multiple of 3, it's not an even number. Okay, so these are all the numbers in the right places for this question. Okay, question 21, it says Franco buys a house for 146,500. He sells the house for 158,220 and calculate the percentage profit. Okay, now the first thing is work out the actual profit that he's made. Okay, so how we do that is we basically take away the original from the new price that he sells the house for. Okay, so work this out on the calculator. Okay, so that comes to 11,720. So that was his actual profit. Okay, now how we find the percentage profit is the actual profit that he made divide by the original. Now originally he bought the house for 146,500, and if you divide these numbers on the calculator and times the answer by 100, okay, so that is 8% profit. Okay, so 8%. Okay, so that's question 21. And moving on to question number 22, multiplying out double brackets. So again, you can do x times by x to start off with. That's x squared. X times by minus 9 is minus 9x. And 5 times by x, again, they're both positive, 5x. And plus 5 times by minus 9, that's minus 45. and we can collect the like terms here. So minus 9 plus 5 would be a minus 4x. So x squared minus 4x minus 45. And then 22, it says factorize 9x squared plus 6x. Now we look for the common factors. The number common factor, the highest one, would be 3. But then also we got x squared and we got x over here. So we need x on the r side as well. And then put terms in the brackets. So when you multiply by 3x, you get 9x squared. So that will be 3x here. And then 3x times by 2 would make 6x. Okay, so that is the answer to that question. Nice and straightforward. Okay. Now, number 23, it says, use your calculator to work out 29 squared minus 4.6 and all of that divided by the square root of 35 take away 1.9 to the power of 3. Now, I would start this question by opening up a fraction button first. Once you got the fraction button, so just put the numbers in, 29 squared, take away 4.6, and scroll down to the denominator part and open up a square root button. And in the square root, just write down 35, take away 1.9 cubed. Okay, so and work that out. Okay, that comes to 157.66825. And it says round your answer to 4 significant figures. So these are the first 4 significant figures. If you look at the next number, that is 6, that is bigger than 5. So we add 1 to this. So that would be 157.7. Okay, question number 3 says, the scatter graph shows information about the marks a group of students got in a science test and in a maths test. And the maths test marks are on the y-axis and the science test marks on the x-axis. And it says Jamie got a mark of 34 in the science test, and use the scatter graph, find an estimate for Jamie's mark in the maths test. Okay, so a scatter graph shows a correlation between 2 sets of data, and we can figure out the answer by drawing a line of best fit. So a line of best fit which approximately goes halfway between the points, or half the points on either side of that line, and it follows the general trend, the correlation of the marks. So if we put this in, so just bearing in mind you cannot go beyond the first piece of data, and you can't continue with your line after the last piece of data. So that would be a line of best fit. So using a ruler and a pencil to draw that. And then it says Jamie got 34 marks in the science test, and find Jamie's maths marks. Okay, so 34 marks. So again, we need to draw another line from this science test marks. I'm just trying to draw that, and it's 34. So 34 is roughly here. So follow that line. So go up to this line and then read across the value over here. But it looks like Jamie got 39 marks in his maths test. 39 marks. Okay. Okay, question number 4 says, the table gives information about the time taken in seconds by 18 students to run a race. And so the data is given in groups. So basically what this means is there were one person who completed the race between 5 and 10 seconds. and there were 2 students who completed between 10 and 15 and so on. And it says work out an estimate of the mean time and give your answer to 3 significant figures. So when the data is given in a group, so we don't know whether this person took just above 5 seconds or 6 seconds or 10 seconds. So we have to average the time. So we add another column, midpoints. So we take the value halfway. So the midpoint between 5 and 10 is 7.5. And so if you can add them together, 10 plus 5 is 15, and divided by 2, 7.5. And the halfway or the midpoint between 10 and 15 is 12.5. Between 15 and 20 is 17.5, and then 22.5. So one person completed between that time, so times by the frequency, each of these midpoints, and write your answers out here, and that will give us the total time. So we will need to add all those values together and then divide by the total number of students, which were 18. Okay, so let's work that out. Okay, so that all comes to 335, and then we do 335 divide by 18 to find the mean time, and on your calculator it should be 18.6111 and so on. Now this to 3 significant figures, so first one, second one, third one, the next number is less than 5, so the answer is going to be 18.6 seconds. Okay, question 5 says write 37 centimeter cubes in millimeter cubes. Now there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. Okay, but since it's the volume units, cubes, so 37 times by 10 times by 10 and times by 10. The common mistake is pupils just would do 37 times by 10, but that will only convert into millimeters, not into millimeters cubed. Okay, so if you work this out, so that will be 37,000 millimeters cubed. Okay, so moving on to question number 6. It said Nemo was driving to a hotel. He looked at his sat-nav at 13:30, and it said time to destination was 65 miles, and he arrived at the hotel at 14:48. Work out the average speed of the car from 13:30 to 14:48. Okay, so you must show all your working. Now the average speed or speed is distance divided by time, and we have the distance, which is 65, and the time between 13:30 to 14:48. Okay, so you can take this in steps. From 13:30 to 14:30, that's 1 hour, and then from 14:30 to 14:48, that's another 18 minutes. Okay, so we can't just divide by 118 because it's 1 hour and 18 minutes. So 18 minutes need to be converted into hours. Sorry, so it's going to be 18 divided by 60, which is 0.3. So the time was 1 hour and then 0.3 hours. So 1.3 hours. Okay, so then we can substitute this into here. Distance divided by time, 65 divided by 1.3. Okay, so which is 50 miles per hour. Okay. Okay, 7a, it says write this very large number, 32,460,000 in standard form. So standard form, 3.246, and how many powers of 10 do we need? So if you look here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So times 10 to the power of 7. Okay, so that will be the answer for part A. And then if you look here, that's already in a standard form, and it says write in ordinary number. So we want to not write this in a power of 10. So it's a small number. So 4, 9, 6, 0 on this side, one more 0 on this side, and this is what this number should be. So 0.00496. Okay, then it says Asma was asked to compare the following two numbers. A equals 6.212 times 10 to the power of 8, and B equals 4.73 times 10 to the power of 9. She says that 6.212 is bigger than 4.73. So A is bigger than B. Now, is Asma correct? Okay, so while Asma is not correct, because she has not taken into account the powers of 10. So this is the 10 to the power of 9, and that is 10 to the power of 8. So number B is always going to be bigger because it's got one extra power of 10. Okay, so write this in, and that should get you all 3 marks for this question. Okay, question number 8 says the diagram shows a regular pentagon and a parallelogram, and work out the size of the angle marked X. Okay, now if you notice it in parallelogram, so this angle would be 117 degrees as well, and the size of this angle here, so again these are co-interior angles in a parallelogram, so we can do 180 minus 117, that will be 63 degrees. So this angle over here is 63 degrees, and this would be 63 as well, because a four-sided shape, the sum of the angles is 360 degrees. Now we can figure out, so because it's a regular shape, so all these angles have an equal size. So all of this angle here, all this angle would be of a certain size that we can find out. So we can use this formula, n minus 2 times by 180, and now this gives us the sum of the interior angles in a polygon. So n is the number of sides, so 5 minus 2 times by 180, okay, that is 540. Now, since there are 5 equal angles, 540 divided by 5 is 108 degrees. So all of this angle is 108, but we already know part of this angle, which is 63. So 108 minus 63. Okay, and that equals 45 degrees. So X equals 45. Okay, so that is the answer for this question. Okay, question 30, it says A is in the shape of a quarter of a circle of radius 15 centimeters, and B is a shape of a circle. The area of A is 9 times the area of B. Show that the radius of B is 2.5. Okay, so let's start by finding the area of A. Okay, so area of A. Now we know that the area formula is pi r squared, or pi times by radius squared. But since it's quarter of a circle, 90 degrees, so I'm going to put quarter in front here. So a quarter times by pi times by 15 squared. Okay, so work this out. Okay, so that is 176.7375. And then it says the area of A is 9 times the area of B. So basically, we need to divide this area, 176.7375 by 9, to find the area of this circle. Okay, so that is 19.6375. Now, how do we show that the circle of B is 2.5? Now, if you look the area formula again, area is pi times by radius squared. Well, we've been given the area in this case, which is 19.6375. That equals pi times by r squared. Okay, so how do we find r squared? We are going to divide both sides by pi first. So 19.6375 divided by pi, that will give us the r squared, or the radius squared, and that is 6.25. Then to find what r is, because it's r squared, we square root both sides. Okay, so the square root of 6.25 is 2.5. So we have shown that the radius of B is 2.5. Okay.